The 1984 best-selling book, Goddesses and Everywoman, by Jungian analyst Jean Shionda Bolen offered a new look into women's psychology based on the goddesses of ancient Greece. Bolen used the 7 goddesses of ancient Greek mythology, Artemis, Athena, Hestia, Hera, Demeter, Persephone, and Aphrodite, as stand-ins for archetypes of feminine behavior, with each goddess having their own set of values and personality traits, from quiet and methodical to nurturing and temperamental. In Jungian psychology, archetypes are described as patterns of instinctual behavior contained in the collective unconscious. A consciousness that is universal, not individual. Behaviors and motivations that are the same across time and cultures. Myths tell stories that exist in the collective unconscious, which is why it is easy to find similarities in myths from 2 entirely unrelated places. Archetypes are our inherent predispositions. They are our deep desires that influence how we feel and what we do. Archetypes are not created from outside cultures like family, society, and religion, though outside forces or societal stereotypes can reinforce some archetypal patterns and repress others. The personality patterns of many women can be personified through the Greek goddesses. The Greek goddesses are archetypal. We recognize their behaviors and patterns in the collective unconscious. We can see ourselves and the women in our lives as mirrors of these deities. Knowing, developing, and expressing what is deep within us can be a great source of joy. Connecting with these archetypes can help us understand why what is fulfilling to one woman may be meaningless to another. Knowledge of the goddesses can offer insights into what is motivating, compelling, frustrating, and satisfying for us. Taking the frameworks outlined in Goddesses and Everywoman, I attempt to reframe the goddesses in the light of a 2024 woman. I hope through sharing this research, women will feel more validated in their femininity, and it will promote further self-reflection and discovery. The huntress archetype is represented by Artemis, goddess of the hunt and moon, who roamed the wilderness as an archer. Artemis is the firstborn twin sister of Apollo, god of the sun, and beloved daughter of Zeus, king of the gods. During her first trip to Olympus, Artemis asked her father for a bow and arrow, a pack of hounds, and a group of nymphs to accompany her on a life of adventure, all of which her proud sky father granted. In her myths, Artemis was known to act swiftly and decisively. She could focus her aim at any target and nail every shot. She was fiercely protective over her loved ones and was quick to punish those who offended her. Her anger was legendary and her punishments were merciless, but her free spirit still connects with women to this day. Artemis is the Greek personification of the independent, feminine spirit. A huntress woman is driven to seek her own goals on the path of her own choosing without the need for approval from others. She is self-confident and fiercely independent. Artemis was represented through the wilderness, and women like her cannot be contained. She is full of fire and passion and will stop at nothing to hit her target. A huntress woman feels strongly about her causes and principles and will not compromise them to conform or please others. She is a bold, natural competitor with a strong sense of perseverance, courage, and an unwavering will to win. The huntress will put in the work needed to uphold the ideals or causes that are of value to her. In 2024, Artemis women can be found all around us. The women's movement starting in the 1970s idealized Artemis qualities in women, and these traits are idealized in popular women's culture today. Artemis is the archetype of the sister, to Apollo in Greek mythology and to her fellow women in real life. A huntress considers her friendships with other women to be a top priority. In romantic relationships, she holds a strong, I can take care of myself attitude. The notion of settling down holds little attraction to an on-the-move huntress. The biggest problem a huntress woman faces is her issues with anger. Artemis herself was known for her destructive rage, and this can cause a huntress real struggle in the areas of romance, empathy, and forgiveness. She struggles to let go of her preconceptions, sometimes seeing the world as black and white. Some Artemis women can struggle with feeling inadequate in the realm of traditional femininity. People might see her as unfeminine, leading her to see more traditionally feminine traits like gentility and receptivity as weak. To cultivate Artemis, you should push yourself into focused solitude, passion projects, and work that drives you. Nail down your goals and stay focused on them. Keep your eye on the target. You can also tap into the goddess of the hunt by exercising, vacationing alone, spending productive time outdoors, or joining women's organizations. Some examples of the huntress woman in pop culture are Katniss Everdeen from The Hunger Games and Elizabeth Bennet from Pride and Prejudice, along with real women like Gloria Steinem, Jane Fonda, Amy Winehouse, and Serena Williams. Athena was the Greek goddess of wisdom, war strategy, and crafts. She presided over battle strategy in wartime and over domestic arts in peacetime. She was the protector of cities, patron of military forces, and goddess of weavers and craftsmen. The story of Athena's birth was very unique to Olympus. After days of head pain, Athena sprang from Zeus's head as a fully grown adult woman wearing shining armor with a sharp spear in hand, yelling a mighty war cry. Athena was Zeus's right-hand lady, and in broader myths, Athena was the advisor to many famous heroes, including Perseus, Jason, and Achilles. She also aided the Greeks in winning the Trojan War. Known for her winning strategies and practical solutions, Athena is the archetype followed by logical women, ruled by their heads, not their hearts. The sage is the feminine archetype we can draw from Athena. Strategy, planning, practicality, rational thinking, and domination of intellect over instinct are all hallmarks of the Athena woman. The sage woman is practical, resourceful, uncomplicated, and confident. She gets things done without losing her cool. She works hard and has a thirst for knowledge. I want to stress the fact that Athena is a feminine archetype, a goddess, not a god. She shows that logical thinking, keeping one's head in the midst of a conflict, and resourcefulness are all natural traits for women to hold. They are not masculine traits, and Athena women are not thinking like a man. Like the huntress, Athena women are motivated by their own priorities and focus their time on what matters most to them, and less on the needs of others. In relationships, sage women gravitate towards partners who have authority, responsibility, and power, similar to the archetype of Zeus. And Athena can spot a star on the rise, a Greek hero in the making. In the professional world, a sage is ready to put in the work that is needed to achieve. Athenas thrive in business, academic, scientific, military, or political arenas. Making her way up the corporate ladder is not a challenge to back away from. Her ability to think strategically helps further her ambitions. A sage knows the game and can score the points. Athena lived within the golden mean. She believed that everything should be done in moderation, no intense feelings, needs, or excesses. As the goddess of crafts, Athena created things that were not only aesthetically pleasing, but useful. Practices like weaving or sewing that take planning to execute emphasize a sage's natural skills. Rational Athena never lost her head, her heart, or her self-control. She lived in the golden mean and was not overcome with emotions or irrational wants. Coming into this world wearing armor, Athena was protected from harm, but real Athenas can struggle from wearing this emotional armor their whole lives. A sage woman might lack romanticism or emotional intensity, and therefore miss out on some of the joys in life, like sensuality, intimacy, or passion. Athena was never a child. Born a grown woman, a sage needs to recover her inner child by looking at the world with wide eyes, taking things in without preconceptions, and listening to her heart and her body, not only her mind. Good places to cultivate sage energy are work and school. Making a disciplined schedule or study habits, learning objective facts, and thinking strategically about tasks are all ways to bring Athena in. Some examples of the sage archetype in pop culture are Belle from Beauty and the Beast, Hermione Granger from Harry Potter, and Olivia Pope from Scandal, along with real women like Jacqueline Kennedy and Amal Clooney. Hestia was the Greek goddess of the hearth. More specifically, she was the goddess of the fire within the hearth, burning at the center of temples and households. She provided the Greek people with illumination, warmth, and heat for food. Hestia was the eldest of the Olympians. Unlike her fellow gods, she took no part in love affairs or wars. Though not one of the official 12 Olympians, she was greatly honored in ancient times and received the best offerings from mortals. Hestia was not known through myths or visual representations. Her significance was found through rituals. Hestia had the power to make homes and temples holy places. These places were not considered sanctified until the hearth of Hestia had entered. The Greek ritual of taking Hestia's sacred fire that burned in every city's main hall to a new home symbolized the shared consciousness and community of the Greek people. A house was not a home without Hestia's presence. Hestia's presence in the household made her central to everyday life. Similarly, the archetype of the mystic can be found in women whose quiet presence cultivates an atmosphere of warmth and peace around her. The mind of a mystic woman is inwardly focused. She looks towards her intuition and leans on her instincts to make decisions. Hestia women are often quiet and introverted. They enjoy time to themselves to reflect and recharge. They seek quiet tranquility and solitude to focus on what matters to them and are not distracted by the need for others. Hestia's hearth kept a household feeling whole and connected families together. A mystic woman can display the same power by bringing people together through her devotion to the home or other special spaces. Women who find keeping a home a meaningful activity and not just a chore are channeling Hestia. Hestia women want to feel peacefully absorbed into their projects, to be in the mindset where time is entirely lost. As the eldest sister to the first generation of Olympians, Hestia was seen as the honored elder, staying above the rivalries and romances of her younger counterparts. A mystic's detachment gives her a wise woman quality, like an elder who has seen it all. When a woman mirrors Hestia, she is often less attached to people, outcomes, possessions, and power. Her ego isn't front and center, because her identity is not tied to outside circumstances. Mystic women can be seen as an enigma, mysterious and hard to pinpoint, because their interests don't align with our capitalist culture. As a mystic woman is forced out into the world, she will struggle if she has not developed a persona or mask to help her in social situations that do not come naturally to her. Mystic women especially find the competitive workplace difficult. Because she has no interest in recognition or power, strategies to get ahead are foreign to her, and she might feel overlooked when it comes time for a raise or promotion. A mystic woman can be emotionally detached and can seem inattentive to her surroundings as she attends to her own concerns. She is a warm presence for others, but just like the fire of the hearth, people feel they can never get too close. Hestia's energy can be found in the quiet solitude and sense of order that comes from simple acts like housekeeping, gardening, or organizing. It can be hard in busy modern life to find time to quiet the mind, become totally absorbed in a task, and enjoy the result. Meditation or prayer can be a source of inner peace and illumination. Making time for Hestia allows us to get in touch with our own values and focus on what brings us meaning. Some examples of the mystic archetype in pop culture are Phoebe Buffay from Friends or Annie from Annie Hall, along with real women like Sade, Greta Garbo, and Frida Kahlo. The striking Hera was the Greek goddess of marriage and was the queen consort of Olympus. Her name is thought to mean great lady and is the feminine form for the Greek word hero. She was the wife of Zeus, king of the gods, and was part of the first generation of Olympians. To win Hera over, Zeus changed himself into a small, shivering bird, which she took pity on. She held the bird in her arms when Zeus transformed back into himself, begging her to be with him. She resisted his efforts until he promised to marry her. After the 300-year-long honeymoon, Zeus went back to his promiscuous ways and was unfaithful to Hera time and time again. These affairs enraged Hera, turning her from the beautiful maiden to a vindictive, jealous wife who took her anger out not on Zeus, but on the women he was with. Despite this reputation, Hera was adored and worshipped in rituals as the powerful goddess of marriage by the women of Greece. The queen is the feminine archetype of Hera. The queen represents a woman's capacity to bond, be loyal, and be faithful to a partner. Hera women are able to endure hardships without losing faith in others. A Hera woman's commitment is not conditional, and she means it when she says, "Till death do us part." The queen woman often mirrors Hera's natural regality and elegance. Queens are not known to stand idly by. They are capable leaders in their own right and can take charge even in the nastiest of situations. A Hera woman finds fulfillment through a partner and can feel incomplete without one. She wants a serious commitment in her relationships and expects loyalty in return. Hera desires to have a partner to go through life alongside. Unlike our independent goddesses, Hera doesn't want to do it all alone. I want to note that I find the perspective that the book gives on Hera to be unfairly negative, focusing too much on her jealousy and rage through being Zeus's wife, and not enough on her role as Queen of Olympus, and the power of regality and femininity. Both the goddesses Aphrodite and Hera place a value on intimate, romantic relationships. But at their core, Hera values commitment and Aphrodite values connection. The queen is status conscious and picks a guy who fulfills the correct social requirements. She is a queen who is looking for her king. Queens are attracted to competent, successful partners. Behind every great leader, there is a strong Hera cheering them on. Queen women often struggle with feelings of anger or jealousy, just like the goddess herself. These feelings are not singular to betrayals of the heart. Hera women react to pain and loss as a whole with rage and activity. The queen might also be a little judgmental towards others. She holds people up to high standards and can be disappointed when her expectations aren't met. She might project an idealized relationship onto a man and become resentful when he fails to fulfill it. Some examples of the queen woman in pop culture are Blair Waldorf from Gossip Girl or Joan Holloway from Mad Men, along with real women like Beyoncé, Nancy Reagan, Wallis Simpson, and Lisa Vanderpump. Demeter was the Olympian goddess of the harvest and agriculture, presiding over the growth of crops and the fertility of the earth. Her name, Meter, means mother, and she was worshipped as a mother goddess and as mother to the maiden goddess Persephone. Her most notable myth, the Hymn to Demeter, is the story of Demeter's grief after the abduction of her daughter by the god of the underworld, Hades. While gathering flowers in a meadow, Hades arose from a split in the ground and grabbed the maiden Persephone, forcing her down into the underworld. Demeter, depressed, angry, and in shock, searched endlessly for her daughter. In this time, Demeter did not allow anything to grow until Zeus got her daughter back. Concerned about the never-ending winter, Zeus agreed to have Persephone sent back to Demeter for 2/3 of every year, the rest of which she would spend in the underworld. Demeter represents a woman's maternal instinct, fulfilled through providing physical, psychological, or spiritual nourishment to others. The mother archetype motivates women to nurture others, be generous and giving, and to find satisfaction as caregivers and providers. A woman does not necessarily need to be a mother to connect to this archetype. The mother is nurturing, supportive, helpful, and giving, providing whatever she sees is needed, from a supportive hug to cooking a hearty meal. A Demeter woman has an aura of Earth Mother about her. She is solid, warm, and dependable. She is known for having her feet on the ground. Her love is persistent. Like Demeter's headstrong reaction to Persephone's abduction, a mother woman refuses to give up on the people she cares for or on the values she holds. At work, she generally enters helping professions or traditionally feminine jobs, such as teaching, social work, or healthcare. In romantic relationships, a mother woman needs to stay cautious. Her selfless nature allows her to see the best in people, making her more likely to be taken advantage of by entitled or selfish partners. The healthy match for a mother woman is someone who places priority on her, something she struggles to do for herself. When a Demeter woman is depressed, nothing grows. People in her life rely on her to be a providing and supportive presence, so they suffer when she stops. Because of this, a mother woman struggles to say no, even when it comes at the expense of her own wants and needs. This can lead to emotional or physical burnout, or acting out passive-aggressively when Demeter has hit her wit's end. A Demeter woman can often be overprotective of her family, friends, and significant others. She believes that mother knows best, which can lead to controlling or judgmental behaviors. She might coddle her friends and try to provide advice for every issue, then get frustrated when her suggestions are not taken. Women invite the mother into their lives when they take on a nurturing role, the most obvious case being when they become a mother. But the cultivation of Demeter can come through caretaking of any kind. Becoming a pet owner, babysitting a younger family member, making a meal, or taking up a people-centric career are all ways to channel Demeter. Some examples of the mother archetype in pop culture are Monica from Friends, Leslie Knope from Parks and Recreation, and Morticia Addams, along with real women like Dolly Parton, and as she got older, Princess Diana. The goddess of spring, Persephone, was the daughter of Demeter and wife of Hades, god of the underworld. Known in mythology as the Maiden, or Kore, Persephone represented a youthful and carefree woman. Her most famous myth is the same as her mother's, the Hymn to Demeter, which is also known as the Rape of Persephone. After being abducted into the underworld and wed to Hades, Hermes arrived to bring Persephone back to Demeter. Not wanting to leave, Persephone ate some pomegranate seeds Hades had offered her. The act of eating bound her to the underworld forever. However, when she returned to her mother, she claimed that Hades forced her to eat them, trying to avoid Demeter's disappointment. Having eaten the seeds, she was required to spend 1/3 of the year in the underworld with Hades. Her annual return to Earth was seen as the return of spring after the death of winter. As a mature goddess, Persephone reigned over the dead as queen of the underworld. She acted as a guide for the living who visited the underworld, greeting them and assisting heroes in their journeys. The archetype represented by Persephone is that of the maiden. The maiden woman is eternally youthful. She is flexible, adaptable, and often takes direction from outside forces and other people, making her very open-minded and receptive to growth and change. In the seasons of a woman's life, Persephone represents spring. Youthfulness, vitality, innocence, potential for growth, and a resilient, positive spirit are all hallmarks of a maiden woman. A maiden looks at the world with curiosity and excitement, bending to where the wind blows her. Young women, in general, have a tendency to relate to the maiden archetype and grow beyond it, but other women hold the maiden archetype their whole lives, possibly tapping into the queen of the underworld aspect of Persephone. Persephone went from innocent captive to queen of the underworld, becoming a guide for the living who entered. The underworld symbolizes the psyche, the world of inner thoughts, dreams, and the unconscious. Women like Persephone who find these murky topics interesting or have struggled with psychological issues themselves can find connection to the maiden archetype. Maiden women are accepting and non-judgmental. They are sensitive and empathetic towards others. In love relationships, the Persephone woman can adapt herself to her lover's interests and wishes, making herself perfect in their eyes. Pleasing others gives her a sense of security and confidence. In relationships, she wants to follow the other person's lead. The sex kitten, or ingenue, the combination of sexuality and innocence, permeates in US culture, and this is often the draw a maiden woman has. Maiden women are uncommitted to a job, lifestyle, goal, or relationship. Even if they are in one, they struggle to be firm in that commitment. They might move around or change jobs often, not out of a sense of adventure like an Artemis, but as a way to find themselves. Lying or deceiving as a way to avoid conflict or disappointing others is another issue for the maiden. They would rather withhold their real feelings or actions just to spare a confrontation. Instead of being honest with Demeter about what she wanted, Persephone lied to save her mother's feelings. In real life, this can cause depression down the line if a maiden continues on the path of someone else's making, while leaving what she wants behind. Women who are used to knowing what they want might struggle when they are in a situation that lacks clarity. Cultivating Persephone's ability to wait for situations to change and for feelings to become clear can be very helpful. Learning to be open and flexible and to place a positive look on receptivity can be developed by listening to what others have to say, restraining from judgments or prejudices, and looking inwardly to find direction. Some examples of the maiden woman in pop culture are Serena van der Woodsen from Gossip Girl, Elle Woods from Legally Blonde, or Laura Jean from To All the Boys I've Loved, along with real women like Rihanna, Eartha Kitt, and Taylor Swift. The most beautiful goddess on Olympus was the goddess of love and beauty, Aphrodite. Referred to as the golden goddess, golden being a synonym for beautiful in Greek, she was described as a lover of laughter and filled with irresistible charm. Immortalized through Botticelli's Birth of Venus painting, Aphrodite was born emerging from the sea as a fully grown goddess. Many gods, struck by her beauty, vied for her hand in marriage. Aphrodite was free to choose her mate and chose the rejected son of Hera, Hestia, god of the forge. Their marriage represented the union of beauty and craft, from which art is born. Aphrodite took many lovers, from the god of war Ares and the messenger god Hermes, to mortal men who intrigued her. She had many myths describing the good and destructive powers of her love. Aphrodite is the personification for the lover archetype, which governs a woman's enjoyment of love, sex, sensuality, and beauty. Any woman who has fallen in love has known the power of the lover archetype, but the lover can also be found through platonic connections, creative endeavors, or actions of empathy. Aphrodite differs from the other goddesses because at her core, she is interested in emotional experiences, not on independence or making long-lasting bonds. The lover woman is sensual and passionate. She's extroverted, creative, and might have a flair for the dramatic. She lives in the here and now, making her present in everything she does. She wants to experience life to the fullest. Her infectious enthusiasm and sunshine in her pocket attitude make her captivating to others. The lover will follow whatever or whomever fascinates her. It is in her nature to be genuinely, but momentarily, involved in whatever interests her, until something new comes along. Aphrodite women are recognizable not by their appearance, but by their charisma, by the electricity that they can create with people. Because the lover woman is charming and engaging, she has a magnetism that draws people closer to her, even when she's not trying to. In relationships, lover women gravitate towards men who are creative, complex, moody, or emotional, like Hephaestus, Ares, and Hermes. She is attracted to intensity, to the emotional fires of love and war that live within herself and her partner. The lover woman falls in love easily. Each time thinking she has finally found the one, she gets swept up in the magic. This can be destructive for herself and for her partners. Some partners might treat her badly, but she finds herself hanging on to the crumbs of attention that they give her. Or she might have a love them and lose them mindset, breaking many hearts in the process. Lover women follow their hearts. They live in the immediate present, as if their actions have no future consequences. This could look like an impulsive affair, or buying beautiful things they can't afford, or standing people up because more exciting plans came along. People will get hurt if she treats them as out of sight and out of mind. Or she might end up in a difficult financial situation because she wanted to fulfill a fleeting desire. Aphrodite is the goddess most associated with sensual and sensory experiences. To cultivate the lover's energy, one needs to learn to enjoy pleasurable experiences and to cultivate the ability to live in the here and now. Getting out of one's head and into one's body without guilt and judgment can take time and effort. Things like getting a massage or yoga and dance classes are ways to open the body up. Another way to tap into Aphrodite is by cultivating an interest in aesthetic pursuits like art, music, fashion, or poetry. Some examples of the lover archetype in pop culture are Samantha Jones from Sex and the City and Baby from Dirty Dancing, along with real women like Elizabeth Taylor, Jennifer Lopez, and Halle Berry. In mythology, three goddesses, Athena, Aphrodite, and Hera, competed for the golden apple, determining who was the fairest on Mount Olympus. But in the realm of archetypes, not one goddess reigns supreme. We are complex beings, and everyone has every goddess in their consciousness. All of the goddesses are at the table. Some just speak more than others. I think it is beneficial to think of the goddesses not as exact copies of a personality, but as aspects of oneself. Certain events can bring out certain goddesses. For example, a bad breakup or cheating partner might bring out an inner Hera. Motherhood could tap into Demeter, or a social upheaval could poke the bear of Artemis. To develop any one goddess, you must be doing as the goddess would. Doing is becoming. Meditation can promote Hestia, studying channels Athena, and going to a sex shop could bring out an inner Aphrodite. In my months of researching this topic, I have centered on the idea that we all have three goddesses that make up our unique personality patterns. Inspired by the big three of popular astrology, the three goddesses are the equivalent to the astrological sun, moon, and rising signs. Though not a perfect translation, this archetyping method holds similarities to Freud's three interacting factors of the psyche: the id, ego, and superego. The sun, or ego, being the goddess you relate to in your daily life, the moon, or id, being your inner archetype that often goes undetected by others, and the rising, or superego goddess, being the projection given to the outside world. To better illustrate the three goddess framework, we can look at the woman who inspired it, Miss Carrie Bradshaw of Sex and the City. Carrie is by far the most well-rounded and realistic character in the original series, making one goddess archetype harder to nail down for her. I have seen contradicting viewpoints online about Carrie's archetype, so I wanted to put my own thought into it. In my opinion, Carrie's archetypal makeup holds the maiden Persephone as her sun goddess, the lover or Aphrodite as her rising goddess, and the queen Hera as her moon or undetected goddess. Carrie never grows out of the maiden archetype. Often women by their 30s have let go of the indecisiveness and open-mindedness that is common in younger women. Carrie is consistently trying to find herself and goes through a maiden's journey of discovery throughout the show, and this interest in self-discovery is at the core of who she is. Carrie is also a lover. This is definitely the facet of her personality she most often puts on display. In the first episode of the show, she describes herself to Mr. Big as a sexual anthropologist, wanting to seem confident and sexy. Carrie loves love and loves the fun of life. She falls hard and falls fast and has left some broken hearts along the way. And she loves the give and take of her relationship with Big and doesn't settle for anything less. But underneath, there is a vulnerable queen in Carrie who enjoys the unglamorous lifestyle of being Mr. Big's lady. This Queen Carrie can be possessive and struggles to be single after finding her king in Big. She holds her romantic relationships to the highest priority, sometimes to the detriment of herself and her friends, something she later must overcome. When I look at the women in my own life, I enjoy seeing their quirks and strengths in the same light as the goddesses of ancient Greece. As mere mortals, we will never sit with the goddesses of Mount Olympus. Instead, we are led on the earthly path of a heroine's journey, with each decision we make illuminating more of our path. The goddess archetypes offer women a perspective on why their interests, desires, and actions differ from one another. Looking back to ancient times, to find that they valued a wide range of feminine attributes, I hope will inspire the women of today to embrace their natural dispositions and to see the beauty and power of being a woman, whether you are an Athena or a Persephone.